Wow, I am really late, but it is Wednesday, and now I'm so late that I only have 9 minutes to check in. But I did get, this is my glass of wine. This is called the ice cup. When you do not plan ahead to drink wine, and you don't chill your white wine, but you use your little ice koozie. I guess most people use like frozen beverages or beer. So I use this. I was talking to my parents, and so I didn't want to cut that short. But I wanted to get on Wednesday night. Last week, I had a fun little segment that was a dinner challenge, and I had so much fun that I thought I would get on tonight too. And provide a dinner challenge for you folks, and that was to have conversation. Hey Jess, how are you? Jess, do you have your wine? Maybe you're better prepared and you have a wine cup, but I have like an iced koozie with my wine in it. So you are also in Arizona, and it is definitely hot enough to have a cold glass of wine, and we're getting storms. You might still be in the monsoon as well. So what I wanted to get on tonight and do a dinner challenge was this. Last week, so the dinner challenge was to have an engaged conversation with the person you're eating with. Makes sense. And that you were going to, of course, right, Jess? We were crowdsourcing questions we would ask our eating partners so that we could have this engaged conversation. And we had like some great suggestions. Like, if you could go on your dream vacation tomorrow, where would you go? What would your dream house be like? Where did spaghetti get started? There were a whole bunch of interesting conversations, but a conversation I had afterwards was that so I'm a military spouse of 19 years. And I know that many other spouses I know have military men, or men come home, they just want to eat, they want to decompress, there's not a lot of talking at dinner, and that talking time comes later in the evening. So I wanted to brainstorm some conversations for later in the evening, okay? So whether that's in front of a television show or whether it's at bedtime, you can have conversations. So the questions that you ask, you are probably not going to ask in front of the television or while you're in bed and you guys are like doing your last 10 minutes of bedtime reading, like where spaghetti came from, right? But what you might ask is, other than the how is your day, because I think we stop asking how is your day because we think it gets boring or that it doesn't show affection. But we do have to show affection, right? So I think other things could be what is it that you heard today that really got you thinking? What is it that you encountered today that really made you question something about yourself? We have so much stuff going on in social media, but also in the news that makes us question what's going on today. So a topic I had hit last week was when my daughter asked my husband and I what we thought about transgender bathrooms. And that was sort of a surprise because that wasn't something I thought we would discuss, but it makes sense in retrospect that these are hot topics that are going on. Obviously, we have the peaceful demonstrations that are going on. We have the maybe not so peaceful demonstrations going on, and these are questions we can ask. Now, is that what we want to talk about right before bedtime? Probably not, because that gets people riled up. So, let's crowdsource again. What are things that we can ask right before bedtime that aren't going to give people strange dreams or nightmares? Because I don't know about you guys, but I've been accused by my sleeping partner, so that's my husband. I have been accused that occasionally I have dreams or nightmares, whatever you want to call them, where I physically move from the sleeping state and perhaps deliver a karate chop across the bed, scream, jump off the bed, and like, ah. So we don't want to induce those sort of things right before bedtime, right? You want to induce nice things. So again, I think going back to your dream vacation is probably a good thing. What I have started doing before bed and I really enjoy is giving myself like 1 to 3 statements about how the next day is going to be particularly, I hesitate to use the word awesome because we overuse that word, but how the next day is going to be very proficient, effective, exciting, notable. Notable is a good word. I like that word. But how is the next day going to be any more special or productive than the last? I like to tell myself right before I go to bed that I'm going to wake up and be happy about waking up to my alarm, because how many of us are really excited to wake up to the alarm? I like to tell myself that I'm going to be excited about the next day because usually I am. Usually I like my work, but it's nice to have that last thought reappear as you wake up. And perhaps you've experienced this. The last thing you wake about is what you think about throughout the night or when you wake up. I know this to be true, but I have to admit, and it goes back to more of how I used to be. I used to have the last thought right before I would begin drinking. So hello to whoever came on, please say hi. It doesn't always show me on Facebook, but we're talking about how to have effective conversation, engaged conversation before bed, and to not be something that induces nightmares, but that has you waking up the next morning to be more productive and more excited. Hey, Julie. So what I was about to admit was that I used to have this last like conversation piece or last thought when I used to drink a lot. And my husband and I got to a point where we used to joke that whatever we talked about last before we went to a party or a social gathering is what I would talk about the most once I started drinking. And so it really became that fear factor of like, oh my gosh, please don't say anything that's going to sound racist or, you know, uneducated or dumb. Because that was the reason I drank. I didn't want to sound all those things. But please don't say that comment right before we get out of the car and we go to the social event, because that is the comment that will come out. Well, that's the same idea. When you go to bed at night, seed your brain with that positive thought of what you're going to possibly process while you're dreaming, or what you're going to process when you wake up in the morning. So my things are, I like to think I'm going to be excited and energized for the next day. And then I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be really excited to help other people. And really that does drive me. But you know, when you're talking to your spouse, it might be like, what's the one thing you're going to conquer tomorrow? So that at the end of the day tomorrow, you are happy about your progress. Or who's the one person you would want to talk to tomorrow to get your point across on this idea you've been thinking of? What's the one idea you're going to implement tomorrow that's going to make your day productive? So I just wanted to give that idea to you, because so like I said, last time it was the dinner challenge. So this time it's the bedtime challenge. What are you going to talk to your significant other, or maybe even your children, about right before they go to bed, so that one, they don't have nightmares, and two, they wake up in the morning and this is maybe the first thing they think about, and that they're going to be productive the next day. So I hope that gives you some ideas, and maybe too, like for personal self-talk, that will help you as well. Like, what is it you're going to say to yourself so that tomorrow starts off strong? So that's it. You guys have a wonderful Wednesday night, and I will see you tomorrow.